Yo, what is going on, guys? Today I'm going to be bringing you a different video. It's been a little bit since my last video. I wanted to take a couple day break, and then when I wanted to come back, I realized the game had been taken temporarily down for the maintenance while they got the new version ready. So my couple day break turned into about a week break, but I am back. I'm going to be bringing you a different video. A, because I want to try something a little different, and then B, also just kind of wanted to get this out here for anybody that's new coming along picking up the game, wondering how you can pick up a character quickly. Because I see a lot of people in Twitch like Twitch chats and stuff like that, Twitch streams, where they'll watch a streamer and they'll see them playing a character, and this person's been playing the character for like an hour or two, and they're already playing them at like a really good level, and people are kind of confused. They're like, this character just came out, how can this person learn to play the character at such a good level already? And a big part of that is because it's not really the character, it's the player and the player's understanding of the game. And what I'm going to try to break down today is kind of how to start getting a grasp on that level of understanding of these games, and how to start using that to learn these characters in a very quick and effective way. So without further ado, let's go ahead and get started. So the first thing that I want to do whenever I get a new game, or there's a new game coming out, is I'm going to look at the roster, right? I'm trying to find who I want to play. And the way I kind of decide this is based off of a few different factors, right? A few of those factors being something like how cool I think a character looks. Like, I think Vi looks really cool. I think Alawi looks really cool in this game. Warwick looks cool. Like, you know, whoever looks the coolest. And then another way that I like to pick these characters is based off of archetype. So Echo is like a mix-up character. Now, generally, I'm not a mix-up player. I'm more of a neutral-focused, mid-range control character. That's the kind of characters that I gravitate towards naturally. So because of that, I like characters like Vi as well. Right? But then also, Blitzcrank is cool. I like Blitzcrank too. So pretty much just whatever your brain tells you, I like these characters. And like, it can be power level, it can be, oh, I think this character is really strong, so I want to play them, or I think they're really cool, I want to play them, or I played a character like this in another game and I really like that person, so I want to try this person. Whatever it is, just find the characters that resonate with you and that you think look the coolest and seem the most fun to play, and that's going to make learning the character a whole lot easier, because you're going to have a much more, like, you're going to have a lot more interest in actually learning the character and spending time with them. So once you find out what characters you want to play, just for the sake of this video, I just updated the game literally just now. I'm gonna lock in Warwick. I would do Teemo and Warwick, but I don't want to do two at once. I'm just gonna do Warwick as main, and then I'm gonna do Blitzcrank on the side. Alright, so once I pick a character that I like and I want to learn, I go into training mode. Either the combo trials or the free trials. So here I am in the free trials, and what I'm going to do is I'm just going to kind of press buttons, which I'll probably put this in the beginning, but make sure if you're confused on what your buttons do, because for me, having played most of the characters in the roster already, I kind of have an understanding of how characters are supposed to function in the game. But if you're newer to this game, then take your time going through the, I think it's move list right here. In the home, go to your move list, and then this is the way you can view all your different attacks and what they are. So you have your specials, supers, unique moves. It tells you which assists do what. You know, your universal mechanics, all this stuff. So make sure if you're new to the game, use your move list if you're confused on what buttons are doing what. Otherwise, pretty much you can kind of do what I did and just kind of use your intuition, and then do a little dig after, make sure you didn't miss anything, make sure you understand pretty much, okay, everything this character can do, right? Kind of get an idea of what all they have access to. You want to be familiar with pretty much anything in their game, like anything that's in their move list that's useful. You want to make note of it in your brain and try to get familiar with not only what it looks like, but how to do it, right? Like, you want to know what the input is for each move that you see. You kind of want to get that locked down in your mind. But then I'm going to turn on the data display. That way I have a better idea. Where's the, oh, here it is in phase 3. Okay, now we got input history and attack information on the screen. So what we can do is we can kind of just press buttons here. Pressing light, I see this is Warwick stand light. If I do crouch light, I'm going to try down forward. Okay, it doesn't have a down forward light, good to know. Seems like stand and crouch is the only lights that he has access to. So let's try medium. Alright, stand medium, that's a good long range. Seems like a decent poke, kind of forward advancing. Alright, 2S. Not quite as forward advancing, but it seems way more active. Seems to hit a lot longer. Down forward. No down forward, so we only have stand and crouch medium once again. Okay, and they link into each other. And then last button I'm going to try is my heavy. Seems like this forward advancing snap move. This seems good for combos. It doesn't really seem that good as a neutral button. It seems like medium would just be better to throw out first. Do medium into heavy. That's what I'm learning. And then I'm going to try crouch heavy. This is going to be my anti-air, my launcher. This is what I'm working with as an anti-air. I'm going to try down forward. Okay, I have a sweep. Good to know. So by pressing my buttons, I figured out now that Warwick has a sweep. So I can go for low attacks and knock my opponent down. Look to continue. And then I'm going to press my specials. So I hit S2. I have this little lunge attack. I feel like this is a Rekka. So I'm going to try that. Yep. So exactly if I press the other button after, there's an additional S2 hit that I can do. And using my intuition, I'm going to assume I can cancel it into super. And using my intuition, I was correct. You can cancel it into super. Alright, and then I'm going to do S1. And down S2. I'm going to try my last one. Okay, down S2 is this DP. So this is an uppercut. Good for anti-airs. And it'll be good for launching your 2H, confirming your 2H anti-air into it. I can kind of start putting that together now. It seems like after you land it so much, you enter this stance, which I'm not too familiar with yet. This is another thing that's going to be part of the learning process, right? Okay, so we've discussed that our lights, our special 2, down special 2, forward special 2 seems to be an overhead. Is this a grab? Let me see. What is this? We're gonna go to bots, and we're gonna set the bot to block the first hit. Okay, this is a hit grab. Okay, this is not a true throw, so now we know that. What about back, S2? Is that the same as, yeah, same as stand S2, so our S2 options are down S2 for uppercut, stand S2 for the Rekka, and then forward S2 for the side switch attack. Okay, and then S1, down S1, okay, Warwick has a Blanca flip, interesting. Forward S1, he dashes, this headbutt. It seems, yeah, it seems to be pretty similar to Braum's heavy charge, where it is always -8. I think even at like max spacing, which Braum's could be made 0. Okay, you can adjust the frame data by spacing, but it is not very forgiving. I think at best you could maybe get -5 or -6 in this situation. So now I figured that out. See, the down, this is this launch. I'm gonna see, okay, I do have follow-ups out of it. Okay, looks like I have a little grab follow-up. Yep, it's a grab follow-up. I have a dive kick out of it, good to know. And then I have this, just this basic hit. Okay, so now I have a good idea of what all my buttons are, and so now how do I apply this? I think the next best step is honestly to play some matches. I recommend playing online matches. I don't really feel like hopping on online right now, just because I want to get this video made and get it out. So I'm not going to bother playing matches right now, but that's the next step I would recommend is get online, play some matches now that you're familiar with the character. Once again, if you're at a beginner level, don't worry about getting into matches and just getting beat up. You know, A, it happens to the best of us if it does happen, and then B, if you're playing at a low level, the matchmaking will normally try to put you with other people that are playing at a similar level. So don't be scared to get into online with a new character to try to get a feel for him. You know, even if you lose, it's a learning experience. It's very valuable. Okay, so now that you've done that, the next step that I would advise is to watch a guide or two, or watch some high-level replays of the character. So what I would do, well, since Warwick just came out like a couple hours ago, I don't think there's going to be too many guides out yet on how to play the character, and especially not any guides on how to play him very well. Anybody that's got anything out already is probably going to be very, very basic, probably just replaying like combo trials or something, and I don't really want to just do that. I feel like that's stuff that you can learn yourself, and guides should teach you a little more than that. So for that reason, I'm going to kind of once again bypass this step, but that's just my next logical step. Is once you find the character and you get familiar with their moveset and what they do and a little bit of how to play them and pilot them, then you want to find a guide, find somebody that knows what they're doing on the character, watch them play the character, or let them explain how they play the character to you. Or even a little bit of both will usually be the most help. You know, a little bit of explanation, and then also just getting some ideas of how they play, watching how they play, and then trying to emulate that will help you a lot. And so because we spent this time in training mode, learning which moves do what, it's like we learned like, you know, about the Rekka, we learned about the side switch, we learned about the uppercut, we learned pretty much what all the moves do for Warwick. So now whenever we go and we watch a guide and we see them talking about, oh, you know, you can do this move into this move for like a, you know, this combo, so on and so forth, instead of being like, you watch the guide and you have no idea what the character does yet, you're like, oh, that's cool, I guess, but you don't really understand A, how they're doing it, B, how effective it is, or C, how realistic it is. Once you've had a feel for the character and you played the character a little bit, these things will make a lot more sense to you, and you can kind of start piecing together in your own way how to apply what you're seeing into your own games, right? And that's the biggest thing on why you want to have some familiarity with the character before you get into watching like a bunch of guides or tutorials or anything like that. Like you want to know what the character does in your own hands and how they feel before you start trying to pick up a bunch of stuff about them, right? And so for the last little bit, I'm just going to kind of go over some things that I would learn in order whenever I'm learning a new character or a new fighting game. This is kind of how I would approach a character, pretty much doing the exact same thing I did in the beginning. I'm just going to kind of hit their buttons, find out what they do, you know, try to figure out what I can get off of what. And then once I get a good idea of how to use specials, because specials are generally really good at impacting the game. Like now that I know how to do this uppercut, this makes my ability to anti-air people 10 times better, right? So I know how to anti-air now, huge, all right? I know how to frame trap people with a basic little bit of Rekka pressure, right? This is something that any Rekka character can do. Do the first hit, delay a little bit, catch them with the second hit. Or you can do the first hit, threaten second, and do nothing, right? So these are your basic options. I understand that being a Rekka, so I know how to use that move, and then pretty much just kind of learn how to use all my specials and what the function of them are. And the next thing I would learn is normals, which I know whenever I first showed, I kind of did normals first. The reason I put normals second is because I think normals are generally for beginners, especially in a game like 2XK where you have such easy access to special moves. I think learning to use your specials honestly is a bit more effective up front than learning how to just press normals, because obviously normals are pretty simple. Most people kind of get the idea, but the reason I say learn what normals to use in what situation is because there's different situations where you want to use different buttons, right? You're not always going to be mid-range playing neutral, where obviously the stand medium is going to be like your go-to button for catching people, right? Sometimes you're going to be backed in the corner playing defense, and your stand medium is going to be a slow option trying to get, you know, fight your way out of the corner. So that's where you're going to use something shorter but faster, like a stand light or like a crouch light, you know, something to catch them. Or say that you're running after them, you're trying to catch a retreating guard because they're matched in backdash while they're blocking. You're going to run up and you're going to hit like crouch light or crouch, I don't know if it's crouch medium's a low, but you're going to run up and hit like crouch light, right? Learn what normals you want to use when. Same thing with specials. If you have like a reversal special, learn like timings on how to use it, when to use it, stuff like that. And branching off of the normal section, also just wanted to kind of piece that in along with the idea of anti-airs. So pretty much along with learning what your normals do, learning how to do a super basic anti-air, or like how to confirm off of your 2H after anti-air. I would consider this a a necessity. I don't think you should go into online matches and play too much until you kind of learn how to stop people from jumping, because new players love the jump, right? It's super high reward and it feels very low risk when it's not being stopped consistently. So a lot of new players love to jump. So once you're beginning the game and you still haven't really stopped people from jumping yet, I definitely recommend drilling that in, trying to learn your 2H, try to learn what you can get off of it. Doing anything you can to punish people for jumping is a huge part of learning like how to use your normals and specials together. I would say anything I've gone over in this, you could apply it to just about any other 2D fighter. But this, I'm going to make it specifically about 2xKO for right now, and that's going to be learn your assist. So the way to do this, if you're in training mode, if you hold the tag button and then hit the reset button, which is select for me. So if I hold down my tag and then hit select, it'll make my my reset character, when I reset, change. So now every time I reset, I'm going to be Blitzcrank instead. And so doing that, I can see what my Warwick assists are like. So I can try back assist, see what it does. I can see how far it goes. I can see that it's a good option for calling out anti-air, right? It covers the area right in front of me when I'm full screen, which is nice. And then if I'm up in their face when I call it, it gives me a good little hit launcher that it looks like I can pick up from, right? So now I know what the back assist is good for. It's good for full screen anti-air defense, and it's good for close range launcher. So what does the forward assist do? All right, it's a tackle. This seems like it would probably go full, no, about mid-screen, not quite full screen. So now we see we have tackle. I'm guessing this right here is going to be really good for attacking into Warwick, probably a bit better than the uppercut, as I'm pretty sure if you tag uppercut, it'd be a bit hard to kind of confirm that little air bit. Definitely can do it, and you definitely can combo there, but just like a little bit more difficult. Whereas calling this forward assist and just kind of taking this knockdown and getting the corner pressure is much simpler and very effective. So I would probably recommend something like that for a newer player. And so now we kind of have an idea for what those assists do. Obviously you have your last stand assist, which does something different, but you get the idea. You kind of want to figure out what all of them do and what situations to use them all in. And once you get that down, that'll help a ton. Pretty much I kind of want to just go over like things that you should learn once you get all the other things that I discussed in order. Because I've said this before when I've made previous guides for like Guilty Gear Strive and stuff like that. Do not, and I can't stress this enough, do not spend countless hours in training mode doing pointless combos. Now, I said this in the previous videos, if you have fun in training mode doing these combos, if this is how you enjoy the game, then don't let me yuck your yum, you know. I'm not here to shit on what you enjoy, but if you're trying to learn the game and improve, learning, you know, super optimal combos that take you 50 tries to do them one time in training mode in optimal settings, it's not gonna make your win rate go up to 80-90% in ranked, right? Like, just because you can do this combo a few times, like 1 out of 10 times in training mode, does not mean that you are going to be dominating every single player, right? Because combos and player manipulation are two very, very different skills when it comes to games. That is literally execution versus understanding. Two important but individual skills to build in fighting games. So pretty much what I'm getting at is, do not spend a bunch of time learning combos. Instead, what I want you to spend time is learn a couple decent default combos after you learn everything else I just talked about, right? Learn what your moves do, learn your special moves, learn what your assists do in this game. But once you get that down, then learn some basic combos. Don't try to do anything too crazy if you're at a beginner level. You know, obviously, if you're good enough to be doing these advanced combos, then by all means, go rip them. You know, not gonna bother me, but if you are watching this as more of a beginner, please don't try to learn like super advanced combos, because a lot of times it's gonna be more of a time sink than it's worth. And that's stuff that you can focus on later. And I'm telling you now, as someone that's played fighting games for a good few years, your execution will come with time, right? If you try to sit and drill execution over and over, it's not going to do you a whole lot of good. What's going to do you a lot better is just playing and playing and playing. And over time, repetition of doing the same thing over and over, you know, doing the same same combos, same specials, same inputs. That's going to build your muscle memory to the point where you can start doing these harder things, and it's just naturally going to feel easier and more natural to you. So don't spend a bunch of time as a beginner trying to learn like super advanced combos thinking that's what you need to win, because I'm going to be honest, like it's pretty easy to get hits on people in this game. Like assists are really strong, neutral is really strong, specials are really strong. Getting hits is not hard in this game. What you need to focus on is doing decent damage off those hits, not doing anything crazy. Keep it basic, keep it simple. Learn like a punish combo, learn an anti-air combo, so if like they rip a reversal, they do a super in your face. Learn like a basic medium heavy combo, you know, like into like launcher. Use the combo trials that just got added to your advantage. You know, learn some basic BMBs, learn some basic links, and something that's consistent for you that you can do, you know, 4 out of 5 times in training mode, 8 out of 10 times in training mode, you know. Something that's easy for you to consistently do, because when you would go into your matches, you're going to want it to be something that your brain can just jump to and click to just like that. Because if you're sitting there thinking, oh wait, how do I do this combo again? How do I, which button do I start off of? How do I convert this? Then you're not thinking about what's important, and that's what the opponent is doing, right? You always want to keep your mind on what your opponent is doing, so you want to take the most off of your mental stack that you can. And a big part of that is trying to limit your execution to a simpler level to focus on understanding. And I know I kind of dragged on this spot a bit, but I can't stress this enough that it is so important to improve at the game itself and not just at one character or one bit of execution. I cannot stress that enough. That is the most important thing, is just play the game, get experience, and then come back to the harder, more optimal combos. Because I promise you, with time, you will just get better at doing these combos. So one thing in this game is there is something called Limit Strike. If you played Granblue, you're probably familiar with a similar mechanic called Combo Limit. Basically, if you do the same, or at least in this game, it's different in Granblue, but I'm not going to get into that. But in this game, if you do like a similar ender, like let's say you do like a wall bounce move twice, it's not just going to keep wall bouncing them forever. You know, we're not playing like Accent Core. We're not doing dust oops on Blitzcrank. If you try to bounce somebody too many times with like the same thing, it's going to trigger combo limit, and that's going to cause them to fall out of the combo and go to the ground. As I'm showing here, I'm going to trigger combo limit, and you can see Limit Strike right there. And so what you see is I built almost a full bar of super off of that literal medium heavy special, run up, medium heavy, and then another special. Limit Strike builds you so much more meter than a traditional conversion. Sometimes, like you see that jump in meter, that almost gave me twice as much as I earned from the entire combo before, right? And if you're doing like longer combos that actually build meter before you get the Limit Strike, you can build some insane amount of meter using this mechanic. So remember, it's not always a bad thing to go for Limit Strike. Sometimes, whenever, let's say you're playing against somebody, or you're playing against a duo, and one player is really strong and one player is not as strong. The player that's not as strong is on the field right now, and you don't have level 3 built yet. A better idea, rather than cashing out, you know, a level 1 to kill them as soon as you can, might be to try to do Limit Strike and farm resources out of them to build up your level 3, so that if or when that other point character comes on screen, the stronger character, the better player, whatever it might be, comes on screen, you have more ways to deal with them. If you have access to level 3, you can obviously take them out of the game way quicker. You can do a lot more damage off hitting them, right? Or you can use it as a reversal versus their pressure. So like, using Limit Strike in situations where you don't specifically need to kill the enemy as fast as possible can be a very good option. Now remember, this is still a fighting game. The main objective is to deplete your health bar to 0, and generally to win, you'll just kind of want to focus on that, especially in a game like this. You know, as you know, between rounds, meter is not shared. One thing that's shared is your break bar. So keeping your meter does not do you any good. So if the game's closing up soon, don't hesitate to spend your meter and kill. And if you're not worried about either character, both characters are equal to you, you're not having a problem with either one of them, then just kind of freely dump your resources and go for more optimal situations all the time. But as I mentioned, in situations where you're more scared of one thing than the other, use that situation where you're less scared to build, more resources to fight back against what you're scared of, right? And that's kind of what I want to end off with, is learn when to cash out damage. Learn most of the time, I'm going to say like roughly 90-80% of the time, you are always going to be going for like the most optimal damage when you can. Obviously don't drop games going for like super optimal combos or whatever, but you're going to go for like the most highest damaging combo that you know that you can consistently do at the time. And that's kind of what you always want to focus on, unless you're in those other situations. And learning to distinguish which situations you're in where you want to go for more meter build or like a better knockdown situation is just going to come with time. That's nothing I can like go over and just tell you, oh, like if this happens, then that's when you do this. That's just something about fighting games that makes them what they are, is the amount of depth to them. So there's just levels to it. The more you play, the more you'll recognize, but do know that sometimes using mechanics like Limit Strike can be a good thing, and you can use that to your advantage. So this has just been a video going over pretty much how I learn characters, how I approach new characters in fighting games, and pretty much just how I learn new fighting games in general. I kind of just wanted to give a bit of a higher level breakdown on my approach to these games and these topics, and kind of just how I enter these games. And like I said in the beginning, you see high level players play these games and a new character comes out, and you know, day 1, day 2, they're already having super good results on these characters. Like I said, it's not the character. Sometimes the character is just broken, don't get me wrong, but it's usually not the character, and it's more likely the player and their understanding of the game. So once you build that, learning characters is going to be a breeze for you. And I kind of just wanted to teach you guys my thought process, and I think what a lot of other people's thought process is on how to build this kind of mindset and level of understanding. I hope you guys found it helpful. If you did, make sure you like, subscribe, and yeah, catch you in the next video. Peace.